A lot of people don't want to put that in. A lot of people want the easy way out. A lot of people want to, find some kind of hack or cheat code that's going to get them to where they want to be. When we all know the reality, they know the reality that you gotta put in the work. It's going to take time to have something sustainable that you can maintain. The things that can blow up quick can crash quick. So.
Hey everybody, you're kicking it with the Homeboys and the Homeboys podcast, and we are super stoked today. We've got a very exciting show. We've got a really awesome guest, Vince Hollerman, aka Money Coach Vince, someone that we have been following for a very long time. We've been watching his videos. We dig all of his views on financial literacy and saving for the future, and really speaking to our youth. He's here with us today, and we are exceptionally honored. So anyhow, Mr. Vince, how we doing?
Doing good, blessed. Just amazed to be here. Glad to be on your platform. I love what y'all do. Y'all videos are entertaining, very entertaining. I love all the cuts and stuff. So just glad to be here, ready to learn, ready to talk, and have a good time.
Well, I'm coming at you today with just one homeboy. Scotty is away. He's at Yellowstone with his dad. I'm glad he's out there having a good time, but he is missed. But nonetheless, he would say the same thing. We're super stoked to have you on. We have watched a lot of your videos, and I think the reason why we watch a lot of your videos is because we are so like-minded and we have so much in common and share a lot of the same views that you do. But first of all, let's just kind of let's get to know Vince a little bit. Tell us a bit about you.
Yeah, so my name is Vince Hollerman. I'm originally from Georgia, the dirty South Georgia. That's where I'm from. Single parent home. 2 younger brothers, so I'm the oldest in my family, and just took a chance on myself and got recruited to play football at the University of Delaware. So that brought me up to Delaware, and where pretty much my whole career and everything that I'm doing now started. So at Delaware, I was a 4-year starter there. Had the opportunity to play with the Eagles. Surprisingly, I mean, it wasn't surprising to me. I put in the work and everything. I was pretty good when I played at Delaware, but that didn't work out for me in the end. So I ultimately had to find a way to start making some money, right? You get into the real world and, things hit you, especially when you go to college on a full ride. You're not paying for anything. Then all of a sudden you got bills and stuff that you got to pay for. So immediately, went into the workforce. I graduated with a degree in economics, so I immediately got a job to work with Morgan Stanley right out of school. So everything lined up pretty good for me, which is probably why I just was able to stay up here in Delaware this whole time. But started working there, and I was working with financial advisors there, and that really gave me a sense of more about money. College taught me a little bit, but seeing the other side, actually working with financial advisors and seeing, how to set up accounts and stuff like that really got me into the whole financial industry. From there, I went the financial advisor route. I went to get licensed, life insurance license, investment license. So I was fully licensed, pretty much a year out of college, a year and a half, close to 2 years out of college. And that's what really grounded me in the entire financial industry. So, that time period was when I really got my experience, really got my roots in, and really started learning about everything that I needed to learn about the business as well as clients and how to run a business. And I eventually said, you know what, let me try to run this thing. Let me try to do this thing on my own without a company or, without having the backbone of a company. Didn't go well for me. So, being young, being in a place where I didn't really know anybody. And, I came up here for college and stuff like that. I didn't have a good market, they would say, to get started with that. So took a break, went back to the 9 to 5 route. I started working with FedEx. So I don't know if y'all have seen my TikTok videos, but if you go to the very beginning, I was still working at FedEx before I got on,
Yeah.
TikTok and social media.
Mm.
But from there, I got back into the game. I started, saying, let me take my knowledge and education that I learned throughout those years, about 3.5 years, sitting with clients and, going to different seminars and things, learning and having my licenses and helping people invest and all that type of stuff. I got a really good, vast experience and knowledge just on the financial industry and people and behaviors and all that itself. So I hopped online with it and started educating online and started doing videos just because that's what I wanted to do, and it was really just what I like to do. I like talking numbers. I like talking facts. I like being logical with people and breaking things down to its simplest form. And then one day it all just blew up for me when I went viral on TikTok. So that's a little bit about me, basically my whole story, where I'm from and where I am today.
So when you say that, it didn't go well for you in the beginning, man,
Yeah.
that's one thing that I love is like, I'm a big motivational guy. I listen to, all kinds of different things online, from Sylvester Stallone to Kevin Hart to you name it. Some of these Denzel Washington, some of the Rock, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I listen to all these people and their work ethic, and man, it's always interesting to hear like when things don't go well. And all those guys I just named, it didn't go well for any of those guys. And if anyone that's listening wants to hear some really cool stories, go to YouTube and listen to these celebrities, because man, they were like really. I mean, Stallone had to sell his dog so he could eat. At one point in time, it's bananas to hear some of these stories. But whenever it wasn't going well, like, what was your mindset? Was it hard to keep plowing forward, or was it just like, what, one foot in front of the other, I'm going to make this happen? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, honestly, it was hard. I know a lot of people say, well, my mindset is I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep pressing forward. But it's honestly hard, even for anybody else that's ever been through something tough. For me, it was difficult, especially being young, being the oldest. I didn't want, to run back home and tell my mom, oh, I need some help and stuff like that. So I had that pride element going for me as well. That really made it difficult, but it was tough. There was times, and a lot of people don't know this. This is why this is a special show. A lot of people don't know this, but I was really struggling. It was like 1 month left on my lease for rent. At this time, I was really struggling, to make income and stuff, and I was doing everything. I scrambled. I was able to scramble everything up and get the last month of rent in. But at one point, I was delivering newspapers. I was delivering pizzas at night. I didn't sleep. I was sleeping in my truck, in my car sometimes, just to, get through and make it to the next day. But it was definitely difficult during that time period. And, I had to, scramble and get back on my feet. And that's when I really discovered, hey, I got all these streams of income. I'm doing all these things, of course, I'm spending all my time for it. But let me get serious about my money. Maybe I can, find a way to, manage my money correctly so that I don't have to, work multiple jobs and do multiple things and, get back on my feet. So that's what happened for me. I took all the information and knowledge that I was, really teaching other people and clients during this whole time when I was licensed and, wasn't making money, to, focus towards myself and building myself up. Right. I went into some debt, major credit card debt, because trying to fund a business, using credit cards and all that stuff. So, going through that time definitely was tough. But I would say just, my mindset of, I was listening to videos like you were with, To The Rock and E.T. and all these people online and, just reading books. I was real heavy on reading books, and that stuff helped me carry through during those tough times to eventually get back up on my feet to be able to, start something new and start doing what I was passionate about.
Yeah, it's hard, and Scotty and I could both talk about our paths. We've had lots of ups and downs too, and
Yeah.
right after I got my feet underneath me, then the Great Recession happened, and that it changed everything. And I literally didn't make a paycheck for 3 or 4
Yeah.
years. Whenever that happened, and I think it's important for everyone to know that it doesn't have to be a life defining. It doesn't have to define your life. It's actually a new starting point that, like, I look back, like, whenever I was down and not doing nearly as well, I learned so much through that
Exactly.
time that I wouldn't change it for anything, because it helped me. And then to hear you say, talking about getting, your finances in the right order, and starting to look at that, that is something that is so important. And I think one thing that fascinates Scotty and I about, your content is, your approach is, it's almost a little old school, where, I grew up with a dad that was very, very cognizant of financial literacy, and he kind of would lead me down that path. And we feel like, man, the stuff that you're saying are simple techniques that people should be listening to, that could make such a huge difference in their life. And doesn't have to be that difficult. But, I think in today's day and age, we see, especially with a lot of our youth, they just don't want to hear that. And we talked about it a little bit before we started the show. What's the first of all, talk about your content, and then I want to talk about the reception that you receive from your content. But we're gonna post a few TikToks where we highlight some of your content as well, and we'll tag them in our show notes and some of that stuff as well. But tell us a little bit about the content that we love so much that we've seen from you, Vince.
Yeah, so my approach is really, really simple. Like you said, it is old school. So I keep it that way because I find that a lot of the stuff that I was watching, that I was tuning into on TikTok, because I spent a year just studying TikTok, Instagram, all these different social medias, and specifically financial TikTok and financial pages and niches and stuff like that. It was just a lot of gaslighting, you could say, or a lot of just overhype, or a lot of taking, traditional regular things and, twisting it to something that is not, or, big words and all that type of stuff. So my approach was to keep it simple, really simplify it, and most importantly, keep it relatable, right? Talk about things that people talk about things that are real life, stuff that I've gone through, that I've done myself, and that I do to this day. What I seen was a lot of people online, talking about things that they probably don't necessarily do, but just regurgitate because they got the information from somebody. And I think that's what separated me from a lot of the other creators and other people that put stuff online is I'm actually doing it. And y'all can relate to this too. You're actually doing what you talk about. So it's easy to talk about, and it's easy to break down and simplify for people so that they get it. And, break it down in a way on these platforms so that, more eyes can see it, or more people can relate to it. So that's basically my breakdown on everything that I put out.
We see it a lot, and we talk about it a lot. This guru mentality. People standing in front of Bentleys or private planes, and all this, and I really struggle with it. One, I'm from a very small town in southern Indiana, and if you came in rolling like that, you wouldn't have any friends. It's just not. I just don't believe that's how a person's supposed to act anyway. I feel like we're called to be a little bit more humble than that. But it's amazing, the reception that some of these flashy people get on TikTok and Instagram and all of this. That I don't know. Is it just that it's just so sexy, for someone to see this? Like it drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the whole guru movement or whatever you want to call it is like you said, it's ridiculous. Like I grew up to be humble. I grew up to, not show people everything you got and, help people when you can and stuff like that, but not to be flashy or not to show off. So, I think online is just what society has created is just a place where, people can be, whether they have it or actually can afford it or not, people can show these things off and, that's where the attention goes. That's where it gravitates to. And, for some people that works, for others that don't, you can tell who's real, who's not immediately online. And I think the main thing is just finding somebody or finding a influencer or a creator or whoever you like that, relates to you and that's real and that's authentic and can, actually help you. And, I think that's part of the reason what separates me was you don't have to be flashy, you don't have to do all those things. Be yourself, be authentic, be you, show you, but actually be able to help people with the information you provide as well. So we just got to get over that, the guru mentality and seeing all the flashy things because sometimes that can be very misleading to
Yeah,
people.
you say it very well, and we see it in our industry, the real estate industry, where the thing that's really challenging for Scotty and I is there's this perception of obtaining massive debt that
Yeah.
if you own anything, you're crazy. You should leverage your rental property to the hilt so you can get more, and we watched it during the Great Recession. When people are leveraged to the hilt, and then real estate prices retract a little bit, then people are upside down on not two investments but 20. And it buries people. And it's this whole concept of massive debt that has become so popular with the youth is exceptionally puzzling. But something that inspires me whenever I watch your content is like it doesn't have to be so hard. And the other thing is like people don't understand the value of compounding, interest in what investments, can do. And I don't know if it's because they don't want to, or if that's just not as sexy as owning a bunch of rental properties. But Scotty and I are big believers in what the principles that you have, and it just seems like so much of our youth just simply not interested in it.
Yeah, it's true. It's if you go through my comments, it's crazy. Just some of the stuff that people will say. They totally skip the actual information and go to something that's happening in the background, something that's happening on my face, or something ridiculous that's not even about the actual concept of the video. So I think just the younger generation, everything has to happen fast for them. Everything has to happen quick. But what they don't understand is if you put some of these things in place that I talk about in my videos, the quicker that you put those things in place, how simple they are and traditional they are, the faster you can get to those other things that you want to do and actually be able to afford it and do it without having to worry about, the things in the present. So that's the main thing there. You can't get so caught up with being flashy and all that stuff and miss the message. Get
Yeah.
the message so that you can then go be flashy if you want to. You can then go do those things that you want.
Well, and the thing that I don't understand, and we're relatively new still to social media, and we've really stepped up our game a little bit, and we've been pushing a lot out there. But one thing that we've learned the hard way is, man, all the hate, like all these people hating, like
So many.
like why are you so mad, like to hate me for posting, this stuff? Are you to a point like where you get that you just does it still bother you? And I'm saying that because like it still bothers me.
Yeah, nah, not as much. I would say in the beginning, yeah.
Yeah.
I would spend, a few minutes on a comment, like just thinking, okay, what can I say to this person? But now I just rebut, and I turn it to a positive, pretty much everything, because I try to answer everybody's comments. If it's too negative, I don't even pay it any mind. But
Right.
if it's something that at the time I just feel like rebutting or saying something back, I try to flip it into a positive. I forgot what somebody said on my post one time. They said something negative about something that I was saying in the video, and I said, well, how about you go and make content yourself about how other people can what they should have said in their videos, and maybe that'll pop for you. So just turn up something positive, and
Yeah.
then they all of a sudden they turn nice, and they like, you know what, that's a good idea. Maybe I should do that. So that's what I do now. It's funny to me when I see those comments.
It's hard for me because whenever I was a youngster, cell phones hadn't hit their stride, and text messaging and social media, and I'm from a small farm town, and whenever some of the things that people will say on our post, I mean, those were the things that you get asked to go to the parking lot for,
Yeah.
where I was from. We live in a day and age where there's so many cowards out there just hating on Money Coach Vince or the Homeboys, because I think that, I don't know if it's jealousy, or there's also a certain resentfulness, I think, with people with success. People don't which I never grew up that way. Like I said, I'm a big motivational guy, and I talked about some really rich people earlier, and I think they're studs for what they've done and their work ethic. But it seems like work ethic is just kind of going by the way. Do you see that a lot as well?
Yeah. They don't like, they associate people that's successful or people that get a lot of views or who are evil, I think. And I think it just shows what's going on with them inside. That's really what I think about all the time. I'm like, this person is putting out some negative energy that they have with themselves, right? Some insecurities that they have within themselves. But, that work ethic part of it, a lot of people don't want to put that in. A lot of people want the easy way out. A lot of people want to, find some kind of hack or cheat code that's going to get them to where they want to be. When we all know the reality, they know the reality that you gotta put in the work. It's going to take some time to really get something sustainable. Well, I'll say this: it's going to take time to have something sustainable that you can maintain. The things that can blow up quick can crash quick.
Correct.
So
it's funny that you use the word hack and cheat code. Those are buzzwords that are thrown around in real estate all the time. And there's this movement of people, taking someone else's asset and being able to, lease it, then turn around and make it an Airbnb, or all these different ways to cheat. Where Scotty and I, it was, you saved money, you bought a house, you fixed it up, you either sold it, you rented it, you moved on to another one. You did it, slowly, and then the volume, picked up. It's just, and a lot of your content, speaks to, simple savings techniques that work, over time. And, they can be really, really, valuable, when it comes to saving. So, with your clients, are you seeing a lot of younger, transforming younger people, into being a client or helping them, or are you still dealing with, more the, call it 35 plus, age people?
yeah, I mean, recently I've been getting a little younger clientele. But definitely in the beginning, it was, more 30 plus, I would say. It's still mostly 30s right now, in that range. But yeah, that range has really been where my clientele has been, that 30 to like 40 range, 45 range. And just of late, I'm just now seeing, some 25s, 26s trickle in there, here, there.
Because I think it's so important. We've got some younger people that work here in the office with us, and I try to tell them like how important it is to start putting it away now, and then what it grows to. I was very blessed that I had a father that that showed me that path early on, and I kind of get where some of the younger generation came, because my dad would be on my case so much, about starting up a Roth IRA or going this route or that route. And whenever I was 22, 3, 4, 5, man, it sucked. I didn't want to have to do any of that. But like now, I look back, as a 43-year-old man, and what he had told me to do, and seen what it has grown into, it's remarkable. It's just these small steps that people can take to ensure financial freedom. But one thing that Scotty and I are seeing a lot of, we posted a video of Scott was talking about him buying a boat whenever he was like 22 or 3 years old, and how he financed, he financed 100% of the boat. And the comments that we would get would be like, well, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to live your life and, screw everything else. And, I think people forget that you can save money and still live your life.
Exactly.
Scott was going out on the boat 4 or 5 times a year. We're going to go rent a boat and not deal with that, and we get a lot of pushback on that. Like, oh, the homeboys are just talking about save, and you guys aren't living. Well, I mean, that's quite the opposite. That's why Scotty's not with us right now. He's out tearing it up at Yellowstone. So, like, I think it's a common misperception. I'm wondering if you see the same thing, that people think that it's either save or live.
Yeah, I get that all the time. So whenever I sit down with a client, one of the first things I try to uncover is, the mental blocks that they go through, especially if they don't have a savings, they haven't started saving, and they don't track their expenses at all. That's very important to me. If you don't do that, then doing anything else beyond that is going to be definitely hard for you going forward. So I try to uncover some of that stuff in the beginning with those mental blocks, and them being able to set that foundation is not a roadblock. It's not hindering you. It's you being able to give yourself access to money that, in case something happens to you or something goes wrong, you have access to that, so that you don't have to go back to ground zero. You don't have to start all the way back over from scratch. And that's going to give you the ability to afford, to do the things that you really love to do. And like you said, you can save, you can do all these things and still enjoy life. It's just about you planning and getting over that mental block that is going to restrict you from living. I've been living, pretty good. I've been going on vacations and traveling back to Georgia and stuff. And this was before, TikTok and all that, because, I put those things in place. I had my money saved. I saved, but I also enjoy life with the money, with the extra money that I either worked to get, to make sure that I had extra money, or that I just had on the side for saving.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's amazes me, like we talk about the workforce gap, a lot, and people are really struggling to find people to work, and we see a growing phenomenon on social media where people talk about being financially free, in a much different way. They're saying, well, don't save in a 401k, because that doesn't make you free, because you're not free, until later in life. You need to be free now. Go do, some kind of house hack 4 or 5 times. And it seems like that, their definition of financial freedom is to be able to not work, and sit on a couch, for lack of a better word, and just have some passive income coming in. Are you seeing a lot of the same thing, in like the younger generation?
Yeah, a lot of them, a lot of people that I talk to, DMs, comments, a lot of them, they think that, okay, financial freedom is just me just doing absolutely nothing, and I just got a bunch of money coming in, no responsibilities, no anything. I don't know what industry you work in or
Right.
any other industry that you can do that. But if you can find that, let me know. But it doesn't exist. You're gonna have to put in some work, at least in the beginning, which is what I talk about all the time, to create that foundation and build that thing from scratch, build it up, and then create that foundation for yourself to then, become financially free after that. But it's all about your mind. It's all about your mindset, how you set it up, how you set up your system, how you set up your foundation in order to get to that actual freedom that you're looking for.
Right. Well, I kind of want to switch gears just a little bit. Love your work ethic, love your social media. Like I said, me and Scotty we have so much in common. I don't follow the financial markets as much as I used to. I used to be almost married to it. But I've got someone that does our company 401k here that has helped me out, and I was just bad at it. I think people need to realize that. You got to check your emotions at the door, and I let my emotions get in the way of my financial decisions. That's why having someone else, managing it for you, I think is so important. I was just making a bunch of stupid decisions. They say buy low, sell high. I'd sell low, buy high because my emotions would get in the way. Like the pandemic, whenever the pandemic was going on, I'm calling my financial advisor wanting to, sell off everything, at 18, and then it goes to 36. But thankfully I had him in place to coach me through that. But man, there's a lot of volatility going on in the market. I follow basically I'm following the Dow Jones. That's basically the extent of what I do these days. But it's some uncertain times. Can you speak to what the current market climate is and what you recommend to people in such volatile times?
Yeah, volatility is just normal in the market. It happens, right? There's ups and downs. Nothing goes straight up for forever, right? We all know that. That's in any industry, business, career, life, whatever it may be. There's going to be ups and downs. There's peaks and valleys, right? All that stuff. So right now, we're just seeing a bunch of volatility in the market. I think what's causing a lot of this volatility is, inflation, and overseas there's some supply chain issues and things of that nature, as well as some other stuff, right? There was the war with Ukraine and stuff like that, but none of that matters. none of that really matters because that is all short term. We like you said, you have to eliminate the emotions that's involved with investing in the stock market and all that, because it's not rational. There's no way that you can think your way to be in the market consistently over time. So, the best way to navigate these volatile times is to continue to invest like normal. Don't even look at it. Set it up automatically where you put money into the market every single month, no matter how much that is, right? Whether that's $100, $50, $25, $500, whatever that dollar amount is for you, it needs to be happening automatically and without you, having to manually invest that money. So that'll be the best thing for pretty much everybody to do right now. Because if you try to, time the market and try to, sell here and buy here and try to finesse the market, they say, it's not going to work long term. It may work in the short term. You may get a win here or there, but long term, it's not going to work for you.
Yeah, timing the market. I've been around long enough to know. It's essentially impossible. Like people, people think that, that they can time the market perfectly. You can't. And there's things in place that even make that so much more challenging. You see, stock futures change so much, and then you're not able to get into it till after the bell opens, and it's exceptionally challenging to time the market. And I agree with everything you just said, and I can agree with you because I've actually not done a very good job at that advice, but yet I know it's right. Like I was one in the past that that wanted to try to time the market or get in and get out, and over my 21 years of investing in the market, you're right. set it and forget it and keep doing it. And over time, it will work. And I know that's really challenging for some people to see. It was challenging for me during the Great Recession to watch 60% of, my portfolio evaporate. But the actuality, that was the time of all times to be dumping more in. And if I could turn back the clock, after the market went down 60, percent in that time, we should have been dumping it in there. And, Scotty says that all the time on the show. Warren Buffett said, when there's blood in the streets, buy, buy, buy. And it's so true.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the best time, right? It's you like what I correlated to all the time is just, those discount prices. I'm not a big shopper, but I know other people shop online, and when they see those discount prices, whether it's 20%, 30%, they jump right then. They go for it. They go buy whatever they're buying. The problem is they can't see, with investing, it's not necessarily something that you get back, right? You're investing something for your future that can turn into something greater in the long term.
Well, we kind of like to close our show out with asking a series of 3 questions. And sometimes we have, some real estate people on that we ask about real estate, but we kind of change the wording out for people in the financial industry. It's just something that we can kind of scale back and, get to know your past a little bit and also your advice for the next generation. But our first question, what is the best financial decision that you ever made, Vince?
Man, I think financially just investing in myself. My business that I currently have now, it was just I just fully believed in myself and being able to envision, what's happening now as far as, TikTok and Instagram and all these other social media platforms, just being able to impact a lot of people at one time, jumping out during the time when, I didn't necessarily had the money, just money that I had that I wanted to invest, that I wanted to put towards myself. That was probably the greatest financial decision for me because, like I said, I set myself up. I created a foundation for me and my business, if I would have just started, I'd have been in a whole bunch of trouble. So I'm glad I had everything in place. I'm glad I went through everything that I went through because, it definitely ended up the right direction for me.
I think that's well said. I mean, investing in yourself is so stinking important. I mean, people... you've got to take care of yourself, even, from a physical standpoint, but, pour into yourself because then that projects out to other people and you're able to help other people by making yourself better. I love it. Is there any financial decisions that you regret?
So really, I'll do a real estate one. A couple years ago during the pandemic, my best friend was like, he got a house down in South Carolina in a new development, new place. This was right before the pandemic, or I think during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Everything was down, right? He was like, grab it up, just get it, rent it out, whatever. I'll be down here. I'll take care of it for you. Just do whatever, right? While things are low. And I didn't take that opportunity at that time. He did. And his house is more than doubled since then, easily, especially, recently with the housing and inflation and stuff like that. But that's probably one that I regret. This happened recently. So pretty big one. Would have been great to have that income and the asset double in that time period.
Well, I've got a lot of stories like that on my side, so I could make you feel really good. I've made a lot of bad, I'm on here spewing real estate advice all the time. I could take a month's worth of shows and tell you about all the bad decisions I've made in real estate also. So I can relate. Lastly, Vince, what financial advice do you have for the next generation?
As I always say, start with the foundation. Spend less than you make. Save 10 to 20% of your income. Invest early and often as you can. Right, that's going to set you up for the financial freedom that you want, for the financial independence that you want, right? Get those things in place so that you can then go bet on yourself, put the odds in your favor so that you can go out and do whatever you want to do. That's how I did it. That's how I'm gonna keep on preaching to people. That's my story. That's what I'm gonna stick to, because that's what worked for me. And I'm gonna keep, expressing that and impacting people that way.
Getting started early is so important. I mean, it's just so important. If anything, I could just piggyback off of you to any of the young listeners out there. I don't care, where you're at in life. And, like Vince said earlier, if it was $20, $50, $100, whenever it is, and setting up that system, man, it's so important. But, well, that is our show. Vince, I'm very honored and grateful that you came on and spent time with us. We share a lot of the same views. We are really excited to have you, on the show. We're going to continue following you and your message, to come. But we are very grateful, and we thank you for coming on.
Thank y'all so much for having me, man. It's been a blast, here talking with you and, just telling our stories and talking about ways that we can help the younger generation. It's important.
Amen. Well, that's our show for this week. We thank you for kicking it with the Homeboys. You got to check out Vince, Money Coach Vince. Look him up, subscribe, follow him. He is a really smart guy, and his advice isn't overly difficult, but it's so smart, and it's so important. You don't have to make financial literacy so difficult, and his message is exceptionally powerful when it comes to that. So make sure you check out Vince Hollerman, a.k.a. Money Coach Vince. We thank you for joining us. Till next time, happy investing.